Welcome to Clothing Culture, a fashion industry podcast at the intersection of technology and innovation. I'm Emily Lane.
And I'm Bret Schnitker. We speak with experts and disruptors who are moving the industry forward
And discuss solutions to real industry challenges.
Clothing Culture is brought to you by Stars Design Group, a global design and production house with more than 30 years of experience.
Welcome back to another episode of Clothing Culture. Today, I am extra excited because we are on set with a beautiful skyline behind us in the great city of New York City. What do you think about that, Bret?
Hey, it's great. It's a wonderful day. We got a great view, and we have a wonderful guest today, Tina Lee.
That is right. So Tina Lee, also known by the Instagram handle of Leather and Lace. Many great things to know about her. An incredible photographer, a wonderful designer, an influencer with quite a following, and now educator. Tina, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Oh my gosh, really for us, this is a dream. We have been fans of yours, especially as we came to know you through the development of building your very own fashion brand. But the thing for us that we were absolutely astounded by was your eye, your photography skills. Have you always been kind of inherently skilled with aesthetics and a photographer at heart?
Oh, thank you so much for the kind words. I did come from a design background before venturing into blogging and influencing social media. So maybe that helped to influence it. I do love illustration and everything artistic since I was a kid. So maybe there is a connection there.
It's amazing. It's next level. I mean, every single image you go through is so perfectly curated. The detail is phenomenal. The locations that you shoot at, today in the digital world, everyone, when you look at your pictures, you couldn't be in more perfect locations in every case. And those are literally on location everywhere in the world.
Yes, that's why it's so busy. We're always getting FOMO, chasing like the next popular Instagram spot. It might get a little hectic sometimes and almost like you're chasing trends. But when you look back on all the beautiful images and videos you're able to create, it's really, really worth it.
So with today, all the craziness that's going on today with travel and restrictions and, daily closures and everything, you have this passion for travel, you can tell, in all these wonderful spots. Is that causing any challenges with your current shooting schedules?
Yeah, so previously it was a lot more intense travel, but now it's a little bit more intentional. And staying in one place for longer, obviously COVID restrictions make it a lot harder to go between countries. But I try to go to specific locations where you can get a lot of content in one trip. So for me, it has been okay. But also I have slightly pivoted my content in the past year from travel to more also educational, creative. So it's been a good shift since the pandemic, actually.
So that's been a pretty amazing entrepreneurial deal.
Mm-hmm, right. I can't wait to talk a little bit about your new series. But I am curious, knowing that you've had to be a little bit more restricted and intentional about your shoots. Do you find that it's helped kind of helped you find new areas of creativity?
Yeah, definitely. When we were stuck at home last year, at first it was just like a nice change of pace. But then I realized there's so much creativity that can be done just at home. Maybe you just need a backdrop paper and a camera. And there's a lot of ideas that really are within us and you just need to come up with it and execute on it. And so it really helped me pivot, actually. So I didn't feel like I had to always be in an epic location.
So it is clear to me that you're entrepreneurial in spirit as well as a designer, being on the cusp of launching your very own fashion brand and of course the educational series that we've spoken a little briefly about. What made you decide to take your wonderful life of taking photos and wearing fashion and traveling and scenery and giving back and training the next round of people who have the same dream that you've been living the last several years?
Yeah, actually, it was during the pandemic when everything slowed down and you have a chance to sort of think about what your next steps are. And there was no more travel. And my friend actually started YouTube coaching before me. And she told me that you would be doing people a disservice by not sharing all of the information and knowledge that you have. And at that time, there weren't that many courses, programs about influence marketing, specifically like growing on social media as an influencer. And so I really wanted to create something that was superior, really comprehensive, could really help someone go from perhaps a job they don't love to pursuing something they can be very, very happy about, and also create memories along the way that they can keep forever.
That's amazing. I think, people oversimplify manufacturing. We always talk about that on our podcast, that, you just connect with a supplier and you make goods, and it's rarely the case.
Yes.
And I think the same thing happens with influencers. I listen to the buzz in the marketplace and they think, people take a couple pictures, they get, some wonderful gigs and they make a lot of money. And it's not that simple.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that romanticize the idea about influencers, but it's serious hard work. And there's got to be some, focused intentionality about, shifting from, a hobby to a career. We've seen, this need for authenticity in message, consistency in message, and you have it. And so as you start to educate this next generation of influencers, are you finding that they're receptive to that?
Yeah, I find that there's much more education and transparency on everything that is required in going into, I guess, being an influencer, quote unquote. But it's really more like a mini startup. You have to be your own PR person, your own photographer, your model, and you also do your own marketing, branding. So you cover a lot as just a one-person team. And I think that's why it can get pretty busy and hectic and a lot.
I love that. So it's not just putting beautiful imagery out there. I think you're right. A common mistake that Bret and I have talked about on several shows is this idea of launching your own business. A lot of those first mistakes happen not really having a plan, not really thinking about what you're going to be doing from a marketing standpoint and getting your message out there. So being organized in that makes all the difference of taking a hobby to a real business. And so I'm not sure that a lot of people really fully understand that the world of being a professional influencer, it is a business.
Yes. I think because it started out of passion and it started out of people sharing information for free. So there's a line between the two where people often don't really think that it's a business or that it's still a hobby, but it can be both, actually. It's kind of a magical world where both combine and you get to do what you love for a living.
And there has to be a lot of pressure on that too, because, you are the brand equity every day in and day out. There's just got to be a lot of, I would think every day your message to your audience has to remain crystal clear and has to remain very authentic, because that's what keeps the audience to that, I think. So.
Totally.
What is the line between the influencer community being a true community, supportive of one another, to this is my business and I need to stand out amongst my competition?
Yes.
How do you balance that?
Yeah, I actually think you can do both. So the community in itself is a very supportive one. Sometimes occasional drama here and there, but just being human, it's natural. But I would say it's actually a very close community. But even by being in the community, you can still shine and be completely different without having to feel like you're necessarily competing with someone. Because after all, your personal brand is unique to you. And so your voice cannot be replaced by someone else. So I feel like it's not really, it can go hand in hand.
Right.
With the diversity of influencers that are out there, and we're seeing, we're talking to a number of influencers that want to develop their own line. And there's a tipping point when that can be successful. And there's a number of factors. There's a curation of thought process, et cetera, and different demographics and following. With your following, being your originally Taiwanese background, you moved to Australia, spent time in Paris, and now in New York. What would you say that your network looks like today? Is it diverse? Is it global?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
amazing.
It's very diverse. I would say majority would be like Asian American, Asian Canadian, maybe even some Asian Australian, but there's very little connection to the Australian part. But there's definitely a lot of like minorities and a lot of different ethnicities in the midst.
That's amazing. I mean, I think that, one of the challenges as we start to work on programs and developing this collection for you and any influencer is understanding those differences between the core demographics. They're going to affect size and styling. And I think that's the exciting part, but it certainly, again, is the challenging part in understanding, where to go down the path. And we appreciate kind of your vision and leadership through this. I love the stuff that's coming out. I think there's a piece that's coming out. I won't really betray your styling for holiday, but there's a piece that's got well over 14 yards or meters of fabric. And I don't think I've ever done anything with that much fabric before.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So we're looking forward to your audience to see that.
So clearly you are ambitious. You've made a strong business out of your being your own brand. You've launched a video series to educate others. And now you are launching your very own fashion brand. How did you know, okay, it's time. It's time for me to take my history as a designer and build something for myself?
To be honest, starting a clothing line is always the dream of every fashion design student, at some point in your life. And so I feel like at this point, my brand is clear enough and the visuals is very, very specific where I feel like I'm comfortable portraying a very clear vision through this collection. And I think that was sort of the sign. And then INSPR came into my life at just the right time. And I spoke with Chantel and I was like, wow, this could be an amazing opportunity.
Right. Oh my gosh. Well, we're very excited to see your launch take off and your brand grow. I personally have my eyes on every garment in your collection. So I'm looking forward to acquiring each and every piece. What is your dream for your brand? Where would you like to see it go?
Yeah, I'm hoping that it will continue in the current trajectory. I feel like it's covering a good spectrum of different products, clothing, courses, and working with brands. So hopefully just continuing the way it is right now, I'd be very happy.
And I think it's going to be successful. This business model is so exciting for us because, like you mentioned, I would say in mentoring different people that are, burgeoning designers, seeing, being on boards of people that are graduating school, it is the dream and desire of every design student to have their own line. The challenge going down that traditional route is, I always talk to them about, look, it's a big investment in time and money, 3 years of positioning, maybe by year 5, you're breaking even, and you're just working tirelessly to get there because there's so much noise online. And in this influencer community, you've developed a loyal following. There are people that are, and how could they not? You look at your images, how could you not just wait for the next killer image? You've developed that. So kind of in reverse, you've developed your audience. Now you're plugging in this wonderful brand. And I think it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait.
I think you mentioned an interesting point. When I started the blog, my intention, calling it of leather and lace, is because those are my favorite materials in design. And I was hoping to build an audience that would be interested in these things so that one day I could create a collection to market to these people. And
you have.
It kind of came full circle.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
Absolutely. Well, before we wrap today, I would love to learn love to hear your advice for somebody who might have similar goals of, they love photography, love fashion, would see this world of being an influencer as exciting and glamorous. What would be some key points of advice you would share with them to help them get started on their journey?
Yeah. Usually the biggest concern when starting is people's judgment. And there will be some judgment, unfortunately. But I think it's important to know that as long as you always work with integrity, you are authentic to your voice, and you don't force things, then you can always stand proud of your brand and be able to stand up to any haters that may come, and also just brush them off because they're always going to exist, and you won't change just because something, negative was said about you. So be proud and move forward with confidence.
Awesome. Where can they learn more about your classes? Is
Yeah.
it through?
So since this is a podcast, I also actually have a podcast for the course. It's called Full-Time Influencer. You can find it on various platforms.
Perfect. That's wonderful.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Tina, for joining us today. It has been an absolute delight and dream to have a conversation with you. And we'll make sure to share some images alongside of the blog that accompanies our podcast. And we look forward to watching this journey develop for you.
Thank you so much.
And look for the collection in holiday.
Yes, so exciting.
Great.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. Make sure to subscribe to stay apprised of upcoming episodes of Clothing Culture.